It is Crystal with Pineapple Papers, and it is day 23 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. So we have a really awesome um, double page spread from Jackie from JQ Crafty, and I am going to play some more with this color study. It's sitting on my desk, and I'm just kind of loving it right now. So I am going to use this, it's kind of like a color wheel as my circular element. And I am going to pull two of those colors out. And then I am going to distress the edges. So I have used this paper before and I have cut it apart. So I had a few extra pieces and I am going to layer those on top. Now the sketch totally looks like Pac-Man, right? Like eating Pac-Man. And then when I flipped over that paper and it was red, it totally looked like Pac-Man. Doesn't look like Pac-Man so much right here, but when it's one solid, it totally looks like Pac-Man. So I'm really hoping that somebody has like some Pac-Man photos and they embrace the whole Pac-Man thing. I'm not sure that that's actually going to happen, but I think that would be really fun. So I have these 4 photos. This was when I was in Dallas and Sharon and I were just checking out Dallas before we had to get to the airport. And one of the things that was when you Google things to see in Dallas, one of them was this big eyeball. And parking in Dallas was a little crazy. So we did a lot of like drive-bys. So we totally drove by this big eyeball and I snapped this picture for us. So we got to see this big ginormous eyeball. It's like in this little grassy park in the middle of the city. There's huge buildings next to them. It's kind of crazy. It would have been cool if like we were across the street so you could get like a bigger view, but you would have had so many cars in the middle you wouldn't have been able to see it anyway. So I am going to back my photo with this colorful piece. And I am really using up my color study papers. Like I bought the ephemera packs because I didn't have them before. And then when I went shopping for my secret sister, then they had them. So, you know, when you buy something for your secret sister, it's always 2, you know, one for them, one for us. So that's totally what I did. And I had a few papers left. So I definitely felt like I wanted to play with the ephemera too. So I backed this photo and I am going to just tuck it into the Pac-Man's mouth here. So now the Pac-Man is eating the eyeball. I know it doesn't look like a Pac-Man, but yeah, that's all I can see right now. Like, you know, there's some things that when you see them, you can't unsee them, right? Like this was totally one of those. So I'm going to take these other 3 photos. So these 3 photos are of the area where Kennedy was shot, as well as the building that supposedly the shooter was in. So I just have a picture of the building and then the plaque that's on the outside of the building that has the whole story. So that is there. And then there was Kennedy's speech on that plaque. And then there's the grassy knoll, and then you can actually see the street. So I cut this paper terrible. So I'm going to tear it apart and try and put it back together. You know, sometimes when your adhesive like when you don't want it to stick so well, it sticks great. And then when you want it to stick fabulous, it doesn't. Like that was totally happening. But I'm just going to make it work. So I'm just going to mat all of the photos in the same. So there's a little continuity between the mats as well as the background paper. Because it does appear that that was kind of her plan. And hers is more of a grid on the right hand side of the sketch. And mine's, let's call it a wonky grid. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it a wonky grid. So we got Pac-Man on the left and the wonky grid on the right. Just because I have 3 photos and they're not square and they're not in the same orientation. So there just wasn't any way that they were going to make it on like that. So now I am going to dig through all of the ephemera. I feel like I need some more color to the right because the left-hand side is so colorful. And the right-hand side, even though the mats are colorful, it is still pretty green. It's pretty green. So they're really 2 separate stories, but they were the same trip. So I feel like that totally works. So I'm actually embellishing both pages at the same time. I am just going through the ephemera pieces and basically trialing it out on both sides. So it calls for a title on the left, and I pick this vellum. I don't know why sometimes when I'm talking, I swap vellum and acetate all the time. But at least I'm doing it in my head and I can think about like, no, that's not really what it is. But that's where my pause is, because immediately it went, it totally went acetate. And I was like, that's not acetate, that's vellum. So that's going to be the title for that page. But I also have a title for the other page because it is a different, it's a different story. And so that title is going to go in the middle of the pictures like in the sketch. It says right here, which really is a perfect title to for these pictures for the thing that happened there. So as far as embellishing goes, I chose to embellish on both sides of the eyeball, and I did end up, it looks like, doing three-ish clusters. I think that's like 3-ish clusters on the right hand side. And you know, I'm just popping in some flowers and a tab and just a little bit of anything to make that side a little bit more colorful. So I think it's super fun with this sketch is there's no implied embellishments. So it's a great sketch because it still helps you think, like it gets your base, but your creativity still comes out, where sometimes sketches, I mean, they tell you everything, where your embellishment goes, which is fine. That works too. But I do feel like after I do 30 days of sketches, sometimes I'm like, I don't know how to create without a sketch. Whereas this kind of sketch, you're still using that side of your brain. So I pulled in a few extra things, some hearts from LA Studio, and this is some freckled fawn chipboard, and it has a few colorful items as well. I wanted to get this piece that said together because Obviously, I was together with a friend while we were doing this. And what else do I add? I don't think I add anything else, but I'm definitely digging through to see if there's something. Oh, this one, yes. So it says together around town. And then I do add a couple of just these little dots. So they're not enamel. I guess they would be more like puffy dots. And they were on the sheet, and I was like, yeah, we're just gonna get those on there. And then it's funny when you make something and you're like, I feel like I'm done. But I definitely was digging through my stash. So now I'm officially done, and I am going to just do some sequins, which looks like I did off screen. So these were from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and these are We Are Royals. So just added that with some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. I think I did it off screen because this was getting long as it was. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. I have each one separate, so you can kind of see individual pages if you wanted to do that. So make sure you check out everybody else who is playing along, and remember to wear your crown, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.